Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Tanika Tamsin. So today it's a little bit of a different video as I thought I couldn't wait all the way till Monday to give my thoughts on this Oprah interview with Meghan Markle. So this video is all about the Meghan Markle interview. So if you're interested, keep watching. Initially, when I was first introduced to Meghan, I very much liked her. I thought, you know what, it's very typical. Like, I expected Harry to go out with a woman like her. I didn't expect him to stick to the royal rules of going out with a pure white middle class woman, and he done exactly what I kind of expected him to do. But since she's first of all, she's got three things which British people don't really love about her. First of all, she's mixed race. Second, she's American. And third, she's a divorcee. So it kind of is a recipe for disaster. And you can tell this by the way why can't I speak, guys? You can tell this by the way the British media has treated her. You're always seeing that she's like this attention-seeking girl. She's very entitled. She's like, the way they portray her is like she's this bully, and truthfully, is she really that? I've always had conflicting views on Meghan, which I've never kept a secret. I think that she's always asking for privacy and she never wants to be noticed, and she sort of wants to just live her life. However, she does do these big Oprah interviews. She does do massive photo shoots to announce she's pregnant. So it kind of is like a bit of a contradiction. Like, sis, what do you want? Do you want us to be in your business or do you want us to stay out of it? So to jump straight into what happened in the interview, she made a lot of claims. The first claim that she made was that Kate wasn't the one who was left crying before the wedding. It was actually her, and the British press turned the story all around to make her look like a villain. Now, that shows that the British press sees Kate as a victim and Meghan as a bully, and it just shows the undertone that the British press was trying to set right after the wedding. However, we all know that Kate doesn't speak. This is common knowledge. I've never really heard Kate speak much. So this claim will never be proven because Kate will never get to say her side. And this was a little bit of an issue that I had with the entire interview, because a lot of people that she made accusations about, they actually don't have opportunities to tell their side. For example, the claims of her being a bully, it could completely be a lie, but the people who claimed that she was a bully will never be able to say their side of the story because they signed non-disclosure agreements. So I feel like it's very, what Meghan says must be the truth because no evidence actually can be shown. Also, she stated that she had a good relationship with the Queen. That goes against what everybody was trying to say about the Queen, because a lot of people think that it was the Queen's fault and this was the Queen's plan to sort of bring an end to Meghan. But according to Meghan, they actually have a great relationship. The Queen has gifted her with gifts. The Queen has shared blankets with her. Harry was actually shocked how much she got on with the Queen. So if that was the case, the Queen actually hasn't played no wrong parts in this. But I do think that this move in particular was very calculated, because if the Queen had anything bad said about her, we all know that this interview would not be aired. So I don't think we know the full story about the Queen, because the Queen's face is literally on money. She's very powerful. So anything negatively said about her, we all know that we would not see it. We would not be seeing this interview. So that makes me believe that we actually don't know the full story, because if we did, the Queen's praises wouldn't be sung as highly as there was in this interview. One part of the interview that made me actually realise the actual love that's in the relationship between Harry and Meghan was how he was talking about his relationships oh, guys, I'm getting my words twisted. How he was talking about his relationship was on the rocks with his father. The fact that he was willing to jeopardise his relationship with his father for Meghan shows that this isn't just puppy love and the acting like they love each other. I believe that this couple is very much in love, and he's going with all of the decisions that she wants to go with, as he is blindsided by love, which is a beautiful thing to see. And you don't often see husbands step up for their wife as much as Harry has been stepping up for Meghan. And it's nice to kind of see that, because I don't know how much William loves Kate, truthfully. You know, like that, like you never see it. So it does show a nice demonstration of love. One thing that they said, which kind of raised my ears, was when she talked about how some member of the royal family mentioned that how dark the baby was going to be. Now, I looked at this in two ways. I looked at this as clean-cut racism. They didn't want Meghan to give birth to a black baby. But realistically, unless it was like a throwback gene, his mum's mixed race, and his dad's white. So I doubt that a black baby would have been birthed. However, I think it was said in a way of like curiosity. And when it's relayed onto somebody, it's going to sound 10 times worse, because Meghan never heard that directly. It's what Harry said. And Harry would go out of his way to protect his father. That's why I believe it's Charles. But I don't think it was said in a malicious way. I think Harry's just been introduced to this idea of racism. So anything discussed around skin tone or anything perks his ear up, because, you know, he's never experienced any form of racism. He's married this biracial lady, and he's starting to know that actually racism exists. So when he hears little comments like this, he feels like it's much deeper than it is. However, I could be completely wrong, and the person who said it could have been completely racist and completely out of order. But I do think that sometimes, to prove your argument, everything that somebody may say, it will come across worse. But a lot of the things, because they didn't say how it was said, it's hard to grasp whether it was offensive or not. One thing that also surprised me was that they was completely cut off financially by the royal family. But I will say that Harry will be fine regardless, whether the royal family pay for his security or not. This is why I was confused. Why did he have to go to Tyler Perry for security? Because they're both very well off. I'm very sure that they could afford security themselves. With all these Disney deals and Spotify deals and lawsuits payouts, I'm sure that they're okay financially. So a lot of they try to make it seem like if they didn't get because they got cut off by the royal family, they couldn't afford life. But I don't actually think that was the case. I think it was more of a, do you know what, look at me, I've been cut off financially, I can't afford, but I don't think that was the extent of it. I think a lot of trigger words were used as well, because there's certain words that we have to understand that people cannot argue against. For example, when somebody mentions suicide, you can't even question that. And I think this was strategically placed so nobody could dismiss her feelings. She tried to make it feel very relatable, as she mentioned how her entire time as being a royal, she felt like she was in lockdown, knowing full well Britain has been experiencing this lockdown, so a lot of people could relate to what she was saying. And then she went to talk about suicide, and we all know that mental health has spiked ever since the current UK lockdown. So her mentioning stuff like that, I feel like it was a thing that was tactically placed. I know that constantly seeing negative press about you, feeling completely locked in because of the royal family, must feel horrible, and I wouldn't actually wish that on anybody. But I think some things were strategically said. Not saying that she wasn't suicidal, I don't know, but I think the way things were said, it was for a purpose. I'm just confused as to why she couldn't call a therapist. They're friends with David Beckham. Couldn't Harry be like, my girlfriend's going through serious mental health issues. Can you let me know who Victoria's therapist is? Send it over. It's not like your therapist can come out and talk about everything said. There's big agreements being put in place. So your therapist actually cannot say nothing at all. So I don't understand why they had to depend on the royal family to sort out her mental health issues. But I completely understand why they would want their support, because it seems like they're defending everybody but her. Like, they defend Andrew, the paedophile. They defend all of them, but they do not defend Meghan. And you have to question, why is that? Well, we know why. We know why. Overall, I do think the complete layout of the interview was done purposefully. The way that highlighted that she's a charity giver. Honestly, Meghan looked completely awesome in this interview. She looked like a family lady. She was rubbing her belly, rubbing chickens, talking about she saves dogs that need rescuing. Not a bad thing could have been said about this interview. And I think whilst you're in it, you completely just feel completely... I've said completely a lot. Whilst you're in it, you feel very sorry for Meghan. But when you step back and realise, you think, have they pulled a trick on us? Have they all Olivia Poped us? If you don't know who Olivia Pope is, she's from a show called Scandal, and she basically orchestrates all like public announcements by politicians. But a lot of this is orchestrated. It's not done genuinely. It's done to create an image, to create a feeling, to create a vibe. So it was all strategically done. But that doesn't undermine the racism in this country. It doesn't undermine the complete and utter out of orderness of the British press. And I think the great thing about Meghan is she's highlighted the bias that the British press give. And I've noticed that more left-wing media are creating much more clickbaity, very biased headlines, which I feel was very much needed, because you see papers like The Sun dominate the news, and they're sending out negative messages about people. But I feel like it's equal now with Meghan, because, for example, Piers Morgan, it's now a general consensus that everybody doesn't like him, as he shared his negative views about Meghan. Same with the whole monkey guy, the guy who wanted to call Prince Archie a monkey. He got fired and very much held accountable. So people who actually speak out against Meghan, it's not like the British public are like, go on, we all hate Meghan. There's a massive majority of people who support Meghan, and I definitely don't think that we should downplay that, because even me, who's not completely always on Meghan's side, I always feel bad speaking any negativity about Meghan. So it's very interesting how the mainstream press push a message, and how the non-mainstream press push a message. Like, even on Good Morning, Susanna always has to defend Meghan, because they can't just have Meghan slander every morning by Piers. You know what I mean? Okay, so that brings me to the end of this video. Let me know what you think. Do you think that it's as bad as everybody's making out? Do you think that Meghan's a victim? Do you think Meghan's the bully? Let's have a conversation about it. Make sure you follow me on all my social medias at Danica Tamsin. Catch my podcast on Mondays at 6 on YouTube and Spotify. And yeah, follow my website www.danicatamsin.com, where everything produced by me is there. So yeah, that is that. Bye.